well as to Denver's title hopes, explains ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
You can't replace is a guy who, in a 50-50 situation, fourth quarter, game 5, 2-2, who can carry you home. And I know that Nikola Jokic has that ability, but we saw in the playoffs last year that Murray was a special player, a difference-making player. You can't replace that in the playoffs.
Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Welcome back, Paulie. The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tom. Play. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU baseball was supposed to play Grambling tonight. That game not going to happen. They'll postpone it, hopefully to reschedule later in the season at some point. But obviously, really awful weather around South Louisiana today. I'm honestly not sure if the northern part of the state got much of what the southern part did today, but it's been bad. So understandably, they're not going to play baseball today. When they make up that game, we'll certainly let you know. But Doug Thompson, LSU Sports Radio Network, former Tiger hurler, going to join us here in about 12 minutes from right now. We'll talk some LSU baseball. Feinswog in the next hour, and Kristen Peake, an NBA draft analyst for Yahoo Sports. She will be with us in hour 3. So a ton to get to here over the course of the show today. The LSU football team back on the practice field today. It'll be their second to last practice before the spring game. So final day of full pads today. And then Thursday, they'll kind of scale back with a walkthrough. And then they'll have the spring game on Saturday, noon in Tiger Stadium, open to the public. And by all accounts, the weather is supposed to be much better by the weekend, although this week is going to be pretty crummy. But Ed Orgeron today, Tuesday, had his weekly visit to Off the Bench with T-Bob and Hester. And there's a couple of things that Ed said today that I found pretty interesting that I wanted to sort of chew into a little bit. First, he was asked how the quarterbacks played in the most recent scrimmage this past Saturday. Now, remember, the last time he talked about the quarterbacks, he mentioned how Miles Brennan had the best day, and it's sort of been one week the offense has the upper hand, next week the defense has the upper hand. So with that sort of as the backdrop, this is how he answered the question about the quarterbacks this morning.
They struggled a little bit. It was a tough day. We had a couple of picks. The defense did a good job. The defense, for the most part, won out. But the offense did a good job in the red zone. They came back in the red zone and had 2 touchdowns in the red zone. I think it was probably even throughout the whole quarterbacks. And again, this is going to be a race all the way up to the end of camp.
So a few things. Notice he said red zone about 3 different times there. I'm going to come back to that point in a second. He did say that they're split the reps up pretty evenly, which I believe. And he said this is going to go, if you heard him at the end, through camp. I want to remind you, the last time LSU had a real full-on quarterback competition was in 2018. And they went through spring, and remember, Burrow wasn't here in the spring. Then he got to campus in June, and it was Burrow and Narcisse and McMillan and sophomore Miles Brennan. And they went through the first couple of weeks of fall camp and then pared down the reps. Everyone had equal reps, graded everybody, and then after about 2 weeks, pared it down, and that's when you saw in consecutive days, it was August 15th, that Narcisse and McMillan transferred out of LSU. I would expect the exact same thing. At you have got to play this to where you're giving everybody their equal opportunity. And then ultimately, when it's time to say, hey, UCLA's in 2 weeks, you got to pick your dude and roll. That's whenever you pare back the reps and decide who your guy is going to be that's going to get the first team reps. So whatever happened Saturday in the spring game with the quarterbacks is really largely inconsequential, meaning if somebody goes and has a big day, I mentioned this yesterday. Stephen Rivers back in 2014, I think, had a monster spring game, or 2013. Had a monster spring game. It didn't matter. I mean, it just, what it is what it is. So it's more see how these guys do, how they manage the situation. I'll also keep in mind, I'm going to keep an eye on TJ Finley. Had on account that Finley maybe turned his ankle this past week at practice, in the scrimmage on Saturday. So is he good enough to go on Saturday? How healthy is he? I was told it's very minor. So just something worth keeping an eye on. I mean, that may also affect how they distribute the reps. We'll see. Ed Orgeron does meet with the media tonight, Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. He'll probably get asked about that. So we'll let you know if he updates that status. Now, he did say how they'll divvy up the reps in the spring game on Saturday for the quarterbacks.
We're going to give everybody equal reps with the first team. Even Garrett, he'll get a shot at the first team. And Jake's going to do a good job of rotating those guys. We'll give them equal reps with the first and second team.
So everybody gets equal reps. Again, let's keep an eye on Finley to see how he is, or if Orgeron updates his status. Now, something you heard in that first soundbite from Orgeron, he mentioned several times about scoring in the red zone. And I believe it was Hester who came back later and asked him about how they're approaching the red zone. And what Orgeron said really piqued my interest, considering especially what they have worked so hard to become offensively, which is wide open, spread it out, go type offense. Listen to what Ed Orgeron said when he talked about how they've been handling the red zone this spring.
We're more into traditional sets down there. We're not into 11 personnel.
Right.
We got some big men in there. You may even see a guy like Anthony Bradford or Cordell Thomas at fullback. You know what I mean? Maybe a guy like Dale Rosenthal at tight end, and get really big on the goal line, as you guys remember those sets, and running some G leads and running some leads and being physical.
Okay, when the head coach mentions Cordell Thomas at fullback and Anthony Bradford at tight end, that's going to get a lot of people excited, right? I mean, you're talking about big 300-plus pound dudes playing, air quotes, skill positions, right? But where he started was saying, we're going to go more traditional. We're not going to be 11 personnel. If you don't know, 11 personnel means one running back, one tight end, 3 receivers. So spread formations, right? So we're not going to be 11 personnel in the red zone. Essentially, we're going to put big, giant humans on the field in the red zone and go play bully ball, is essentially what he's saying there. We're going to go get big in the red area. So from year to year, 19 to 20, LSU saw its red zone production decrease. Now, it's worth mentioning 2019 was the greatest offense in the history of college football. So anything judged by that standard is just an unfair standard. But in 2019, LSU had 75 red zone trips. I don't want to bore you with a lot of numbers, but they scored on 72 of 75 red zone possessions. There were only 3 times all season in 2019 when LSU got in the red zone and came away with no points. Of those, 59 were touchdowns. So they scored on more than 90% of their red zone possessions, and 78% of them were touchdowns. They basically scored every time they were in the red zone, and 3 out of 4 were touchdowns, is basically what it amounted to. Last year, they scored on 82% of their red zone trips, and only 53% were touchdowns. So they scored on 3 out of 4 red zone trips, or a little more than that, but only half were touchdowns. It's pretty clear Orgeron is trying to fix that. He's trying to get 6s instead of 3s. I don't know if going big and playing in a phone booth, though, is going to be the best way to do that. Now, if you had a very obvious red zone target, if you had an Eric Gilbert, if you had Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Justin Jefferson, that changes it. What is he seeing at practice now that's leading him to believe that's the way to go? When you're going to play this 11 personnel, 3 wide, spread it out, go offense, but when you get into the red zone, you're going to pack it in. What's leading him to that decision? See if we get any glimpse into that this weekend of the spring game. But that's something that definitely caught my attention when Ed Orgeron met with the guys earlier this morning. He said more about the backups on the interior line both offense and defense. We'll get some of that a bit later in the show. And ESPN has released their FPI projections for this coming season. Where does LSU stand? What about the rest of the SEC? We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3 today. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Tuesday's AFR, brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let me knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, old Dougie, Doug Thompson's going to join us, talk some LSU baseball. Glad you're hanging around. Stick here with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you are thinking about selling your home, call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666. Let me remind you, we are in an almost unprecedented seller's market where there is barely enough inventory to keep up with demand. There actually isn't enough inventory to keep up with demand. So, if you have ever thought, maybe I might be ready to move, this is absolutely the time to get top dollar for your property. And the realtor that can help you do it is Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. If you're selling or if you're buying, commercial or residential, don't go into that process without a realtor working for you. Don't go into that process without my friend, Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibility.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here, Tuesday edition of AFR. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. On a nicer days, you might find this guy on the link somewhere. Former Tiger great Doug Thompson, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Good to spend a couple of minutes with us. Duggar, how are you, man?
Sconer, I'm doing good. Everything's great except for this nasty weather outside. Other than that, it's all good, buddy.
Man, this weather also canceled the game today or postponed the game today against Grambling. Paul Maneri said when he met with the media yesterday that he really wanted to play because there's some guys he wanted to get work. I don't want to say do you believe him because, I mean, obviously, Paul's pretty transparent, but what really is the value of a game right now coming off the series against Kentucky and then a short week because you got to turn around and play Thursday, Friday, Saturday against South Carolina?
Well, for a coach, if you got through the weekend, you don't have any arms to throw. That would be one. You want to get some guys out there, on the field live with an umpire and not just a bullpen. So that could be one thing with some pitchers. But on that same note, maybe some guys didn't get some at-bats this weekend. Maybe, they're still thinking about second base, center field. What's that combination that's the 9 best? Not necessarily the best 9. You remember how Coach Bertman would say that. And you get to put those guys in situations, and again, with live pitching and all that. So, yeah, I believe 100% that he wanted to play, tonight and take every opportunity he can to develop what's a very young team and learn from mistakes. And more importantly, it was propped up to be a game where they could have some success. And that's what this team needs right now, in my opinion. A lot of confidence coming down the home stretch now of SEC play.
Man, one of the changes you kind of alluded to there, what happens at second base, center field, Paul Maneri also started Dylan Cruz in center on Sunday and sounded like that's going to stick. Do you like that change with Cruz in center?
Yeah, I think Cruz can play anywhere. Yeah, but center field works. He moves well. He's got a rocket arm. He fits well out there. It's been kind of an open door since DiGiacomo went down way back at the beginning of the season. So I like that move, and I think that gives him more of an opportunity to keep that door in right field open for the hot bat. Who's it going to be? Who's going to step in there and kind of finally figure it out? So I like that move defensively. I think it shores up the middle a little bit more, if you will. And now it's time to focus on finding, the guy who's swinging it best.
Doug Thompson's with us. One guy who took that step was Kade Beloso. I'm curious your thoughts watching Beloso all season because until this weekend, he just didn't have a lot to show for some good at-bats. We talked with Todd Walker a few weeks back. Kade Beloso with 100 at-bats has only got 10 strikeouts. I mean, he's put the ball in play, just doesn't have much to show for it. So when you've watched his ABs this season, what have been your impressions?
Well, I lose a lot on the road. I don't catch up with a lot of those games. But I'll tell you this. I recall many times on air, Chris and I saying, that's another hard luck at bat for Beloso. He would hit it on the button, but right at him on a line out in the outfield. Or that random team would be playing a shift, and he would hit it right into the teeth of the shift, et cetera, on and on. So I honestly remember saying that greater than 5 times. So if you add 5 or 6 more hits, does that average look a little bit more Kade Beloso-ish? Probably so. But the baseball gods have a funny way of making it all work out. And I've always said since the beginning of the year, Kade Beloso is one of those guys, man, that you feel like has to be in some way part of that equation to get this team into Omaha. So, I'm hoping that Coach Maneri still gives him some chances because, remember this team had 150 SEC bats coming into the season, and I want to say Beloso had more than half of them, by himself. So that experience is desperately needed, and I think Kade Beloso's bat has to be in the lineup. If they're gonna make any type of run for the postseason.
Completely agree. Doug Thompson's with us on Twitter at DT9Tigers, LSU Sports Radio Network, Tigers and Gamecocks Thursday, Friday, Saturday from the box. What did you think about, or what do you think about the Sunday starter and how LSU approaches that now with Jaden Hill down and obviously Labus moving up?
Well, it creates another one of those internal competitions, kind of a battle for that spot. I like Ty Floyd in that spot. I think Helmers would be good. I think Garrett Edwards would be fine there. And I didn't really hate Blake Money there. He gave up a couple home runs, but that's what happens sometimes in college baseball. So I think with Money, you increase the velocity. With the others, they each bring something different to the table. But again, I think it's kind of like that right field, second base spot. Where's my hot guy right now? How can I get him in there? But I really do feel like in terms of depth, seasons in the past, you can remember, man, losing the Sunday guy really put us in a bind.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that there's 3 or 4 solid options for Paul Mainieri here. And don't forget about Mikhail Hilliard in that role. I mean, again, go back to that factor of having those innings under your belt and having that type of experience. You can remember many games, Mikhail Hilliard's freshman year where he won some big games and on the road in the SEC. So I think he's also a name that deserves some attention for that third starter role.
I wanted to get another thought, just to dig a little deeper there. Will Helmers didn't pitch this last weekend in Lexington. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, but that's been one of your more reliable arms this year.
Yeah.
If you have a thought, go ahead. Because I was honestly, Paul tips his hand a lot, right? I mean, it just you talk to him, you know him enough. He'll go hot hand, and he was leaning toward Blake Money. But I was genuinely surprised that we didn't see Will Helmers against Kentucky and at any point.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that. I have to be honest. I had the old phone on in the dugout across all the youth baseball parks.
I love it.
I coached 7 games on Sunday, front to back, all by myself. Both teams back and forth. It was great. But I had the LSU game on the background. I would miss some. I heard some. So I didn't really realize Helmers didn't pitch. But it surprised me when you said that. Now, look, Helmers is 5-1. We'd have to do a little bit of research on how many of those wins actually he went 5 innings and got the win. I know there's 1 or 2 in there, but I think there's a couple of the old Tuesday night. We're going to throw a bunch of them. The starter should get the win so long as he leaves with the lead rules that we've seen before. I think he might have a couple of those. So, but I'm with you. I mean, I think I included Helmers in that group of names that I mentioned as someone that would be, to me, totally serviceable in that third spot. To me, it's more about matchups. Who are we playing? What do they do offensively? What can they do? They strike out a lot. Do they not strike out a lot? Can they run the bases? I think all of those things matter because it is so close there for that role. But the point is, I think the good news is, and the good news for the future of the program is that there are plenty of options, plenty of good arms there to step in and be competitive in that spot in the SEC.
I got 2 more for you. Doug Thompson's our guest, LSU Sports Radio Network. Number 1 is just sort of the math equation here, Duggar. They picked up a couple of games this weekend, so now you're at 3-9 in the league, and you got 6 SEC weekends to go. So what do you talk big picture, or is this just like if you're Paul Mainieri, or is this a conversation that you and I have where you go, okay, what realistically do you have to do over the next 6 weekends to get yourself back into contention for a regional?
I think it goes down to the Bill Belichick, do your job, win every game. All you can do is do your best in every game. You can't, if they look at what's in front of them and realize what needs to be done and think about that, they got no shot. But if they think about winning Friday night's game against South Carolina and check that one off the list, and then Saturday's next, I think it's that type of grind for the rest of the year. And don't count them out. I tell you, look, I'm not making excuses, okay? I was looking at the SEC standings yesterday. Take a look at the SEC East and Western divisions and tell me if the top 2 or 3 teams in each division look at all familiar. It's
right.
With the exception of Kentucky, who's 6-6, might I add, 500 in an SEC that there are, I think, 7 teams below 500 across the league, the entire league. So Kentucky is the least of LSU's opponents, and they're 6-6. But all the others, the other 3 are like literally, top 3 teams in the country. And by the way, they've got Ole Miss in front of them, who's leading or right there at the top of the West. and it just doesn't get easier. I mean, this has been, and Tiger fans in the past few years have been really upset with the fact that LSU hasn't done well against the midweek games against the in-state schools. I think they've done great there this year, but this SEC schedule has been just a disaster. I mean, it really has been. Look how the schedule's unfolding. These teams are seriously talented and they're seriously deep. And I mean, you've already seen multiple guys, a dozen now that throw the fastball in there above 95 miles an hour. That's just crazy. So hopefully it gets easier for the Tigers coming down the home stretch. But unfortunately, looking at the schedule and again comparing it to the standings, it just doesn't seem like it's going to.
Well, you do get Bama, A&M, and Auburn still ahead. Those are three series that are definitely winnable. But to your point, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Arkansas, those are all teams ranked in the top 10.
Yep.
So, I mean, there is a feast and famine nature of the SEC this year. Doug
and you're
Thompson,
on the road in Oxford, and you've got a very angry Arkansas club ready to come and do some damage. So you're right; it just doesn't get easier down the road.
I think 14 is realistic, Doug. I think 14 and 16 is realistic for this team, and if you get to 14, you're in the SEC tournament. You at least have a chance to play yourself into a regional.
Well, I don't know about the SEC tournament, but I think even a 13-win SEC school could maybe get a regional. And, again, looking at that, you got to go 11-4 or 10-5 down the home stretch. That's a lot. That's playing some good baseball. But we have seen Paul Mainieri do greater things in his 15 years here. And I have learned to never count out the Tigers, especially when they're at the box coming down the home stretch. The weather starts warming up. Things change a little bit there. And I'm excited about it, man. I really do think that there's a lot of depth in this pitching staff to keep them alive.
It's worth mentioning back in 2017, when, of course, they were the national runner-up, they won 11 of their last 12. They're like 10-8 in the league, won 11 of their last 12, rode a heater all the way to Omaha and almost to a national championship. So strange things happen.
Exactly. That's well said.
Duggar, before you go, man, I did want to ask, and I hope you don't mind me asking. I saw Cedric Harris posted on his Twitter over the weekend a picture of a lot of his former teammates, and you were in that number that went up to CJ's funeral in Arkansas. I didn't prep you for this, but I hope you don't mind because Terrio and I did talk a good bit about it on Friday. And for those that aren't aware, former LSU great Cedric Harris, his 14-year-old son CJ tragically died 2 Saturdays ago. But a group of you, his former teammates, man, made the trip up for the funeral, man. Could you just sort of maybe share a little bit about how that all came together, that you all made that trip?
Yeah, it's worth mentioning Cedric's wife is Marie Ferdinand Harris, who, of course, she's one of the greatest to ever do it at the women's basketball. Man, we went because that's what you do. I mean, life is precious, and, the good Lord got a lot of it right. In fact, he got everything right. The only thing I think even Mother Teresa said she's got questions about is the kids dying, right? Like parents should never have to bury their children. It's an unfortunate part of the life circle, and when it happens, it's one of those things you truly wouldn't want to happen to anyone, your worst enemy included. And we got on the phone, started calling each other. Multiple guys immediately were saying, I'm going to walk. It doesn't matter to me how we get there, but I'm going to be there for something for him. And we were able to do it. And it was powerful when we got there. It quickly made me realize that we only thought we were playing baseball, 20 years ago. We were really forming lifelong relationships. And that's one of the greatest things about sports. I mean, is that you develop these bonds with people that, you celebrate good and you celebrate the fun times, but when you're hurting, sometimes family can only do so much, and that's why your friends are so important. And we're all so blessed to have each other, and we're blessed to have Cedric Harris as a role model. I don't know if you've watched the video. There's a video out there of him speaking at his son's or saying his son's eulogy. I don't know if it was his eulogy. He just spoke for about 15 minutes. If you can find it on YouTube and you have kids that you're raising, I would strongly suggest it. It's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly graceful, And it as a parent, there's some eye-opening things in there and some great stuff to listen to. So I encourage you to listen to it. And CJ was an incredible kid, and I plan on being a part of however Cedric would like me to be to keep his memory alive. My two little sons' teams, they know the story, and they're going to play the rest of the year for CJ. And I know that Cressy out at Traction is going to have he's going to have stickers made to put on all of the Canes helmets around to honor CJ and his memory. So we're hoping now to look forward and do good and bring peace to Cedric and Marie. And I appreciate you bringing it up. It was a great thing to be there for Cedric in such a bad time.
What Doug referenced there, if you go to Cedric's Twitter, there is a link to the eulogy that Cedric delivered at the funeral on Saturday, so you can go watch that if you care to. Man, I always appreciate a couple minutes, Doug. Thanks, man.
All right, man. You have a good day, Matt. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bud. We'll see you. That is Doug Thompson, former Tiger great, of course, 1997 national champion. Now, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network, talking about this team, but more importantly about what they did. That was so cool. I saw the picture that Cedric posted of he and many of his former teammates. I recognize a lot of the guys in the photo. Kurt Ainsworth was there, and Doug and Patrick Coogan and Blair Barbier and Brad Cressy. We're all there, so I just thought that was an amazing show for those guys to not show in that sense, but a show of support and love and respect to take time away from their families on a Saturday to go up to Arkansas to go to CJ's funeral. So, okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We will continue. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Ichiban, Essen near Perkins, best sushi and best hibachi in the best of 225. And this Saturday, our Hudco hat party going down at Bo-Ru Ramen in Electric Depot on Government Street. I've told you about Bo-Ru before. Been telling you to go try out Bo-Ru. If you haven't, here's a great opportunity to do it in Electric Depot on Government Street. So this Saturday, you've got spring game at noon, LSU baseball at 2. By the time LSU and South Carolina wrap up, mosey on over to Electric Depot on Government Street. Bo-Ru's right there. They'll have live music from 6 to 9 p.m. They'll have happy hour specials all night long. It is pet friendly in the outdoor spaces, so if you want to come dine outdoors and bring your dog, feel free to do it. And I'll be there and we'll be slinging Hudco hats. So come try Bo-Ru this weekend. Say what's up. Enjoy some great night out at Bo-Ru in Electric Depot.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I will go around the SEC here in just a quick second. One real quick, thanks again to Doug Thompson, who was with us. One of the things that Doug talked about, that Paul Maneri also talked about yesterday, was Kade Beloso kind of getting out of a slump. Hit just shy of 600 for the week, hit 500 in the Kentucky series. When Maneri met with the media, Brain, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 here, but it's one of the ones where he talked about shifting against Beloso. I think it might have been number 2. Yeah, listen to what Paul Maneri said about Beloso getting out of the slump.
Sometimes you hit balls hard, but they're right at people, and you start thinking you have to do something different. And I saw that Kade Beloso, not only was he struggling, but his swing was changing. He wasn't showing the same bat speed and so forth. And I thought mechanically he started to really change some of the things that he was doing. And a couple of weeks ago, Eddie Smith and I got very involved and, did some video analysis with Kade and changed a few things back to what we thought he needed to do. And he stuck with it, to his credit. Even though he hasn't been getting a lot of hits, Kade has stuck with some of the changes that we made. And even though the hits haven't been falling, I feel that he's been on the verge of breaking out of it. And all of a sudden he did.
All right, so that wasn't actually the cut I wanted. There was another one where Paul Maneri talked about Beloso and teams shifting against Beloso. And I'm really kind of conflicted about that. Well, I'm actually not. I think any college baseball hitter, when a team is shifting against you, you've got to have enough confidence to go the other way. If they're playing you as a dead pull hitter, you've got to be able to just drop the ball where they aren't. That's the only way to get them to stop shifting against you. Doug mentioned there was probably a handful of times, I think maybe Maneri mentioned as well, maybe 5 or 6 times where Beloso's hit directly into a shift where it would have been a base hit otherwise. Those things do compound when you're talking about your average. And so, Beloso's a guy who on the season is hitting 240, but he's only got 10 strikeouts on the year. 10 strikeouts and 100 at-bats. Y'all, that's 1 every 10 ABs he's striking out. He's putting the ball in play. I mean, by comparison, in 100 and, how about this, in Zach Arnold, for example, 85 at-bats, so 15 fewer at-bats. Arnold struck out 25 times. In 15 fewer at-bats, he struck out 15 more times than Beloso. And it's up and down the lineup. Everybody's the same way. Guys are striking out, except for Beloso. He's the guy that's up there giving you competitive at-bats, is putting the ball in play. He just doesn't have a ton to show for it. I would love to see Kade basically beat the shift that would stop teams from shifting against him and that would get him going, because I completely agree with Doug. For this offense really to reach its max potential, they got to have Kade Beloso as a 300 hitter, because he is so versatile wherever you put him in the lineup. Put him in the 2-hole feed and fastballs, he can drive it. Put him in the middle of the lineup as a run producer, he can obviously hit doubles and homers. Put him in the bottom third. He's a guy that can get on base, walking, getting hit by a pitch, and base hits, and turn the lineup over with a guy on base. He's that good of a hitter, and you got to get him going. And this was a great, great sign this weekend to see Beloso get rewarded for putting the ball in play. Hopefully he can keep it going this weekend against South Carolina. All right, we'll go around the SEC in a second. Always love telling you about GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Remember those 4 letters? And it could literally change your life. I mean, what if you could save, like Erica and I refinance our mortgage. We save $400 a month on our mortgage. Like, what if you had an extra $400 a month? It's insane to think. We'll be done 5 years sooner paying off our mortgage. Like, what if you had that type of freedom 5 years sooner? I mean, it completely changes your life and your retirement structure and your work life and everything. We also got to skip 2 mortgage payments. Rates are at historic lows. If you own your home, do not let this opportunity pass. Call GMFS Mortgage. Get in touch with a local loan officer. Let them. It's so easy. Like, I did the entire process via text and email. The only time I ever went into an office was to physically sign the paper at closing when I went to the title office. That was it. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
This is all basketball today, and it goes to show you just how active the transfer portal is this year. Florida added some serious firepower. Charleston Southern guard Flanders Fleming committed, averaged 20-7 last year at Charleston Southern. 6'4", 210-pound guard, started 60 games over the past 3 seasons, was actually the Big South Defensive Player of the Year last season. Chose Florida over NC State, Texas A&M, and Virginia.
The Auburn Tigers.
Former North Carolina center Walker Kessler, a 5-star prospect from the class of 2020. He has committed to Bruce Pearl's squad. He's the 3rd transfer to pick Auburn this offseason. He was rated the number 22 overall player in the country for the class of 2020. 7'1" big man, played in all 29 games for the Tar Heels this season, coming off the bench in all 29. Auburn now 11 scholarship players for the coming season, so 2 more spots to fill.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama men's basketball signee Langston Wilson announced Monday he's asked for his release from his letter of intent. Wilson signed in November as the number 2 JUCO prospect in the country, but since then, Alabama has gotten commitments from a 4-star freshman center and a pair of transfers. So those additions put Alabama at 15 scholarship players when the NCAA limit is 13. So Nate Oates has a couple of players he's got to cut.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Noah Bauman, a 6'6", 215-pound grad transfer from Southern Cal. He's transferring to Georgia. Bauman is 2 years removed from a prolific shooting season at San Jose State. Sat out a year, and then last year spent 1 season at USC where he only started 1 game. Georgia has added 4 transfers this offseason.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
And A&M center Jonathan Aku has entered the transfer portal. Played in 18 games last season with 10 starts. Sophomore center still has 3 years of college eligibility left, with, of course, experience playing in the SEC. He was rated the number 149 overall prospect in the country and the 26th best center in the 2019 class. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. For Gulf Coast Office Products, face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get with our friend Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's after further review. That is so. Feinswog is going to be with us in about 30 minutes. Of course, we'll talk beer, but among that, we'll also talk about college basketball and the state of college basketball. It's so interesting to me because every year, we do Around the SEC, and look, part of the reason we do that segment is, it's an opportunity every day to keep you abreast with just headlines from around the conference, but also for me to know what's going on in every school around the league. And sometimes you make little mental footnotes. It's never been like this in basketball. The transfer portal has never been this active, and that's factual. There are more than 800 players, basketball players, in the transfer portal. That is outpacing last year's number by a full month, and that was a record year last year. I'm curious if this is just going to be the state of college basketball moving forward, or if this is an outlier because of the COVID year and everybody getting a free extra year. But it feels like this is how rosters are going to be built. Georgia's added 4 transfers. LSU's going to have 3 transfers or maybe more. Florida's added 4 transfers. It just feels like a third or half of college basketball rosters every year are going to be made up of transfer players. It's no longer going to be the norm that you recruit a guy as a freshman and he stays 1, 2, or 3 years. Your roster is going to be made up of veteran guys from other Power 5 schools or Division I schools as you utilize the transfer market. It seems like that's what every school is going to do moving forward. All right, it's after further review. Mel Kiper has put out his latest mock draft. It's a 2-round mock draft. What Tigers does he have going? Who does he have the Saints taking with their first 2 picks? We'll get to that in 15 minutes from right now. Right now, though, not got a break. Come back to wrap up hour number 1 next. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bars, sports on TV. If you need a place to watch the game, Pluckers. Of course, if it's the Pels, if it's LSU baseball, all season long, every game is on the TV at Pluckers. If you love Major League Baseball and you don't have MLB TV, Pluckers does. You can go to Pluckers, belly up to the bar, indulge in ice-cold draft beer and award-winning jumbo chicken wings, and watch every single Major League Baseball game all throughout the year. Love the Astros, but you can't get them because MLB TV rules are awful? Pluckers has them. No worries. Either location. Nicholson just south of campus or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Make plans to spend part of your day Saturday at Pluckers. Huge day on campus with the LSU spring game at noon, baseball at 2. Need a place to grab a bite and a brew? Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. You don't like our wings? We'll give you the bird.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love, where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to ensure a safe tournament experience for everyone. The Zurich Classic. For more info and tickets, go to ZurichGolfClassic.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Print.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. This year's Dreams Come True Radiothon will last all month long. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
Did you go full Orgeron on it?
Hold it back and sneeze, Matt. And yes, I did.
There was so much phlegm in that read.
I was fine until I hit the on button.
The critical part of broadcasting. The on button. That damn on button, which transmits our voices through speakers into thousands of your vehicles, homes, and other devices.
My vehicles don't have homes.
I said homes. Vehicles, homes, and other devices.
I removed the comma.
Oh. That wasn't.
I made vehicles possessive and
that
plural.
Wasn't. Please give to Dreams Come True of Louisiana, 1045ESPN.com. Julian Edelman announced his retirement. When he announced his retirement, there's a video that they posted of him like sitting in a director's chair at Gillette Stadium. He talked about why he's retiring.
Nothing in my career has ever come easy. And no surprise, this isn't going to be easy either. Now, I've always said, I'm going to go until the wheels come off. And they finally have fallen off. Due to an injury last year, I'll be making my official announcement of my retirement from football. It was a hard decision, but the right decision for me and my family. And I'm honored and so proud to be retiring a Patriot.
A dude who played hard, also got popped for PEDs, but it's interesting to me that there's been this conversation about if Edelman is a Hall of Famer. A tip of the cap to John Sigler at Saints Wire, which is part of USA Today, and he has a really good piece up right now, which I tweeted it earlier, and I would recommend any of you go check it out if you're interested. It says, if Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer, Marcus Colston should be too. And he goes through the entirety of their careers and lays out the case why statistically Marcus Colston wasn't just as good. He was actually better than Julian Edelman. For example, receptions per game, receptions per season, yards per catch, total touchdowns. Even if you include Edelman's postseason, Colston was just better. Even including playoffs, Marcus Colston, 4.9 receptions for 67 receiving yards and a half a touchdown per game. Edelman, fewer receptions, fewer receiving yards, fewer touchdowns per game. He's actually better than Colston is Hines Ward and Jimmy Smith. Basically, Marcus Colston statistically had a better career than all of those guys. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't think Marcus Colston is a Hall of Famer. Marcus Colston was never even a Pro Bowler. And that, in some respects, seems absolutely absurd that that's the case. But he also played in an era where we saw the advent of and the emergence of the passing game becoming so dominant in the NFL. And you saw all-time greats like Marvin Harrison and Randy Moss and other players like that emerge through that era, and they outshone guys like Marcus Colston. Colston is the greatest receiver in Saints history until Mike Thomas passes him. He will be in the Saints Ring of Honor and in the Saints Hall of Fame and deserves every bit of that, but neither he nor Julian Edelman belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame when you talk about literally the greatest receivers that have ever played in the NFL. So please stop the Julian Edelman Hall of Fame talk. It's not a real thing. It should never and will never be a real thing. We'll go to Marcus Colston, who is just awesome. All right, it's after further review. Sportscenter coming up. Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. That's next.
AFR.
Love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Check it out. You know where to find them. Michelli.com. That's where you'll find Michelli online. And their website is such an amazing resource for business owners in so many different industries to find out all the different services that they provide. If whatever industry you're in, if you weigh or measure anything, they sell, rent, and service the products and instruments you use to weigh and measure. For example, calibration is so important, and everything's got to be kept up to date. So at Michelli, they've literally gained customers because at times competitors might have disappointed them. They have quicker turnaround times, their communication. I've told you about their track system as well, which allows you to track the progress of your instruments being calibrated and 24/7, 365 access to those calibration certificates. It makes you more efficient. Michelli.com. Michelli.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with 12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service. HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A day after the Nets and Timberwolves game was postponed following the fatal police shooting of Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man in a Minneapolis suburb. The teams are playing a matinee today. Brooklyn leading big 66-42 in the second quarter. Kevin Durant has 10 points. Devastating injury for the Nuggets with the playoffs just about a month away. Star guard Jamal Murray diagnosed with a torn ACL in his left knee, sidelined indefinitely Denver, though, still could make a decent postseason run even without Murray, believes First Take co-host Stephen A. Smith.
Again, it's a daunting task not to have your man from the perimeter. We know that Joker's the man, period, and then Jamal is number 2. But I like Barton. I like Porter. And I like Aaron Gordon on this team. And I wouldn't just dismiss them.
Our Stephen A. Smith. NFL, the Cardinals agreed on a one-year deal with former Steelers running back James Conner. In a PGA Tour memo obtained by ESPN, the Tour says it will no longer require a COVID-19 test for players and caddies at tournament sites as a condition of competition.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
The Brain.
And the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Feinswog in about 15 minutes. Next hour, we'll chat with Kristen Peake. She's an NBA draft analyst for Yahoo Sports. She got a mock draft out, and I want to talk to her about the LSU guys. I want to talk to her about Cam Thomas, who has yet to declare, but is going to be a first-round draft pick. And the other guys who are way more interesting. Trendon Watford, who most mock drafts have him as a second-round pick. How does he project to the next level? And then what about Javonte Smart and Darius Days, who are curious cases because they're guys who have spent 3 years in college and might actually not have a spot at the next level. So we'll do all that coming up in the next hour. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Mel Kiper has put out his latest mock draft, and if you're an NFL draft fan, these are like holidays, or certainly if you're a sports talk radio show host and you love the draft, you love when mock drafts come out and when Mel Kiper puts out his. So let's go through this a little bit. Mock draft, I think, is his third one. And for the first time ever, Kiper is doing trades. And I want to throw out the caveat that while I don't necessarily marry myself to the idea of whoever that analyst has a team drafting, it's more about position and where in the draft these prospects are projected to go. That's more what I look at. Now, there are givens, right? Like he's got Trevor Lawrence going number 1 to Jacksonville. We all know that's happening at this point. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 to Jacksonville, and we also know that the Jets have moved up to number 2 to take Zach Wilson out of BYU. So Trevor Lawrence 1, Zach Wilson 2. The big question in the draft becomes what happens at 3, where the Niners moved up, obviously, to take that spot away via Miami through Houston. And Kiper has them taking Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama. Is it Mac Jones? Is it Justin Fields? We'll find out on draft night, but by all accounts, it appears like that's Mac Jones. To me, I think that is absolutely foolish and something that is going to set back the San Francisco 49ers probably for a half decade. I just don't believe Mac Jones has proven that he is worthy of being the 3rd overall pick. I could say I don't think that Zach Wilson's proven that he's worthy of being the 2nd overall pick, but this is a quarterback league, and if you have a chance to get what you think might be your franchise quarterback, if you have a chance to draft what you think might be your Patrick Mahomes, your Lamar Jackson, you do it, and these teams are in position to do it. So the real big question becomes, what about the Falcons at 4? Well, Mel Kiper is projecting that the Dolphins actually move up to 4, but not to take a quarterback, to take Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida. That would be surprising, to say the very least. Now, it's possible Atlanta could take Jamar Chase at 4. More than likely, they would take a quarterback there. Or potentially Kyle Pitts if they stay in that spot. But if Miami stays put at 6, theoretically, Jamar Chase should be there for them if Penei Sewell comes off the board at 5 to Cincinnati, which is what Mel Kiper does, in fact, project. I would be stunned. Maybe I shouldn't be because it's the Bengals and they have a history of ineptitude. But, look, you got T. Higgins, you got Tyler Boyd. I know A.J. Green is gone to Arizona. You've also... You can pick up weapons for Joe Burrow. You've got Joe Mixon there as well. You've got to keep him upright. Keep him upright. If Penei Sewell's on the board at 5, you got to take him. So Kiper projects Atlanta at 6, taking Trey Lance, the quarterback from North Dakota State. Today, Terry Fontenot, the new GM, said, look, we love Matt Ryan, but we've got to do our due diligence and check out all the quarterbacks in this draft. Trey Lance is 20 years old, and he started just 17 games in his college career. That feels a lot like Mac Jones in that you'd be betting on the come and giving up a lot to do it. So with all of that, the first LSU player off the board, Jamar Chase, Mel Kiper has projected going 7th overall to Detroit. I would feel terribly for Jamar Chase if that's where he lands, because he would be in Detroit. And the only thing worse than being in Detroit would be being in Cleveland. But at least Cleveland right now is at least in the playoffs. But you'd still be in Cleveland. Carolina at 8. They have going Devontae Smith. Why not get a target for your new quarterback in Sam Darnold? That would be more talent than he ever had around him with the Jets. Rounding out the top 10, Micah Parsons, the linebacker, going to Denver. And then Justin Fields. His weight would come over in a projected trade. And Mel Kiper has at 10, Justin Fields going to New England, who would trade up to take the quarterback in a trade with Dallas. A lot of what you would expect thereon. And what we've seen several times from Kiper, he has been pretty consistent as far as what he sees as the next LSU player off the board, and that would be Terrace Marshall at number 27 overall to the Baltimore Ravens. That would be a great spot. Obviously, you give Lamar Jackson a target there at 27, and that would be a great spot for Terrace Marshall. Many of you may know I host the Locked On LSU podcast. It's a daily podcast talking about LSU, 20 minutes a day. Go subscribe. Shameless plug. But one of the things that for the network they asked all the hosts to do is if you had prospects who were projected to be first-round picks, to do a video that's going to air on their draft special. And so I had to do videos on Jamar Chase and on Terrace Marshall. And specifically with Marshall, I said, how is it possible that a former 5-star, 6'3", 205, who ran a 4.38 40 and had double-digit touchdown catches a year ago, 2019 season, how could he possibly be forgotten? Well, it's easy. You play behind the guy who just set the NFL rookie receiving record and the guy who's going to be the first receiver off the board in this year's draft. I've said for a long time that history is going to be very kind to the 2019 LSU team, and this is another example of it. People always talk about 0-1 Miami. You remember Andre Johnson was their best receiver. Anybody remember who their second best receiver was? Anybody. Yeah, it was Ethnic Sands. The second best receiver on LSU's 2019 team just set the NFL rookie receiving record. And the number 3 guy is about to be a first-round draft pick as well. Anyway. This was a two-round mock, but I love what Mel Kiper did for the Saints in round 1. Finally, he has the Saints going defense. In his last mock, he had the Saints going for a receiver. This time he's got him taking Zaven Collins, the outside linebacker / defensive end out of Tulsa. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind, and I don't care who it is or what position it is, but at 28, if the Saints stay at 28, they have got to take a defensive player. I don't know. And listen, when you've lost Trey Hendrickson, when you've lost Sheldon Rankins, when you've lost Malcolm Brown, when you've lost Quan Alexander, when you've lost Janoris Jenkins. You literally have holes at every level of your defense. I don't care at all what position it is. Take the best defensive player on your board at 28 and then move on from there. There's not a ton to mention in round 2 from Kiper. He doesn't have any LSU players coming off the board in round 2. It would stand to reason that maybe a guy like Jacoby Stevens or Jabril Cox could hear their name in round 2. So the only other position of interest would be the Saints drafting with the 60th overall pick. And at number 60, this Mel Kiper does have the Saints going back to the offensive side of the ball and taking wide receiver Rondale Moore out of Purdue. Now, Rondale Moore is like 5'8", 170. He is a small guy, but he is or 5'7", but he is explosive. He is a speedster, and he could be the game-breaking threat that the Saints really haven't had. If you want to go wide receiver in round 2, I'm fine with it. My one condition in this draft for the New Orleans Saints, one and only, at 28 overall or wherever you pick in round 1, you better take the best defensive player on the board because you have holes all over your defense and you don't have the money to fill them in free agency. So you've got to do it with a dynamic player in the draft. Do it at 28. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. We're brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. When we come back, Feinswog will join us. Fundamental shift in college basketball. And, of course, we'll talk beer. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PECbuilt.com, PECbuilt.com. Take that boring backyard and turn it into a showplace. If you've always thought, man, I'd love to have a pool at my house. We could unwind after work or on the weekends. It is possible. Shane Danton, he will build you a gorgeous pool. Custom pools, outdoor kitchens. They also do fences and decks and bulkheads. Take that space and let their imagination take you where you want to go. Shane will come out there with a landscape architect. They'll mock everything up with a computer-generated graphic so you can see exactly what it would look like. Erica and I are going through this process right now. It is gorgeous. We've had a pool at our home. We wanted to add sort of a little outdoor kitchen area, and they've been spectacular to work with. And they offer financing. And because they don't use subcontractors, they can offer you a better price. Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PECbuilt.com.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new Camry for $299 per month. That's $299 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more.
Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 224.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Doing awesome.
I got it. Awesome's good. I got a good beer, which is always, an important part of this segment.
I would say it is the most important part of this segment.
Well, probably yes, considering that I don't know how much anybody benefits from what I say. But
well,
okay,
I basically have a checklist.
All right.
Lee asking me a question, Lee bringing up volleyball, and Lee talking about beer. That's basically my checklist every time you're here.
Well, I have no question for you, but
you will. You will.
No, the NCAA volleyball tournament starts tomorrow in Omaha. 48 teams all in one place, and I got a beer.
Well, that's a double ding then.
Well,
hey, when we were doing around the SEC last hour, it struck me as I was prepping it. Every story was about a transfer coming into an SEC school, and most of them were Power 5 transfers, taking advantage of the one-time transfer rule that we're all expecting to pass.
Yeah.
Have you just accepted the fact that college basketball rosters are now going to be made up of 1 year sort of just mercenary-type players?
Well, not just basketball. I mean, the transfer portal in every sport right now is, as they say, chock-a-block full. Chock-a-block, one word, no hyphens. And
is that a real word?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, really?
It's
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's bursting at the seams. And here's why. You said, is this a coronavirus year special? Well, yes, that helps because everybody. So let's say you're at a school and you've been there even 5 years. Let's say you've redshirted and you maybe started grad school and you finished your 5th year, no matter what the sport is. Well, everybody got a year back this year.
Right.
Everybody can play again next year, and it's a free lunch. So you're sitting around saying, well, I should go somewhere. There are a lot of kids actually thinking, where can I get the best degree? Where can I go to graduate school where they're going to pay for it? And I'm going to be in the best situation. There's also kids who are obviously looking at it from simply a sports end. Well, like the kid who transferred in basketball. Well, there's 2 guard openings there, and I think I'm pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go play there. And they're better than the team that I'm on. So you've got that. The overriding factor for it this year is that everything's out of whack. And you've got, on a much deeper scale, you have this year's juniors and seniors in high school competing with this year's juniors and seniors in college for the same scholarships in every sport. And because if a kid's an All-American, and you weren't, certainly like a coach plans 4 or 5 years in advance in every sport. But, if a guy gets really good and you can get him back for a 6th year, say, and you're going to, of course I'm going to keep him on scholarship. Well, the trickle down, maybe not in the SEC, but at others at the next level, there's a lot of people who won't get scholarships or have to move down a level. And the bottom feeders, and I said from the college end, are the ones who might benefit the most, and the D2s and even the junior colleges. So you've got, it's on so many fronts. But then you throw in the fact that the transfer rule is going to be in effect. They're going to be able to do it whenever they want, starting, now. And in the future. And then athletes are also going to look at schools, not only that we just talked about academically and not only athletically, but also where can I make the most money? Where can I go and do the image and likeness and get sponsorships and get the most money and the most bang for my buck? And they're crazy if they don't look at it that way.
I think that's,
and they will.
Yeah, that's absolutely going. Honestly, it's already starting how teams are going to. I'm not saying that's how they're recruiting, but college athletic departments are already putting together their pitch, sort of their deck, so to speak, of how they're going to be able to present NIL options to kids they recruit. Right. It's got to be part of what you do.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. There's an LSU gymnast who has like a bazillion Instagram followers and could instantly turn herself and her social media into a major moneymaker as soon as the trigger gets pulled on this.
I don't know who specifically, but that wouldn't surprise me. Like I gave the example in 2019, Jamar Chase had over 100,000 followers on Instagram. He could very easily make a 5-figure net as an Instagram influencer. There's some of the women athletes out there who have more than that. I mean, way more than that. And what they're going to be able to do. So what the universities have to do, to your point, is you might be creating a position or a team for this. How do we promote social media for our athletes and make them into a situation where they can make the most money by coming here? It's crazy, and the marketing and the involvement of the sponsors now, you're going to have, your sponsors have to think about more than just putting up a sign inside a stadium or an arena. Yep. What do I get to do for athletes, and how do I have the personal interaction? And then the athletes can look at that. It's a wild game changer. It's not going to be easy to manage the programs in any sport in Division I moving forward. It's going to be really, really complicated. And every coach will tell you that over the last year, this has been the hardest, most challenging year to coach in because of coronavirus, of course. But then with all these other problems looming. Those coaches make 7 figures. I don't care. I don't care that your job just got hard at all.
Right. Yeah. But there's a lot of management and juggling that's going to have to come about. But back to your original point, to come full circle, on the basketball, yes.
Is that terrible? So for those just joining, the question was, is basketball going to basically rosters? Is this a one-off, or is this going to be basically the new norm in college basketball where half the roster is made of one-year mercenaries or transfers or whatever the case may be? And I agree with you, by the way. I do think that is going to be the norm. I'm curious, though, what it does for college basketball, or does it matter at all?
It doesn't seem to. Nothing seems to thwart the game, for lack of a better term, right? But Baylor this year, didn't Baylor have like a few seniors and a handful of juniors in basketball?
They were a very veteran team. Yes, they were.
Yeah, a veteran team is still good, but I don't know. I still think it's better. It's better to go to a school. It's better to be happy. Go to a place, enjoy it, make the most of the experience, win, get a good degree that matters. And maybe, and for the kids that are able to do that, that's still going to be the best college experience. But for the mercenaries, more power to them, I guess.
The way I think of it, Lee, is in college especially, you don't cheer for the player, you cheer for the team. Fans, generally speaking. Fans, if you're an LSU basketball fan, you were a fan of LSU long before Cam Thomas, and you're going to be a fan long after Cam Thomas. So it doesn't really matter who's wearing the jersey. You're going to support anyway if you support.
Yeah, well, like college basketball specifically is a game of coaches. The coaches are the celebrities of the game.
That's true.
We all know
all
know the coaches because they stay. They're the most visible because they're right there on the sidelines. The camera picks them up. They have the most news conferences, way more than football coaches in college sports. But it's on the verge. It feels like it could become different. I transferred in college, so I'm not one to say you shouldn't transfer.
So did
college.
I.
You did too.
Yeah.
Right. You may find this hard to believe, but I actually did it for academic and social reasons, not athletic. Although it did actually not help my athletic career. But bets here and there.
Mm.
But it's been that way. What you're talking about, the allegiance to the school, is kind of like the way it's been for professional sports as well for a very long time since we started free agency. It became really discouraging. Like for me as a young pro sports fan, you couldn't fall in love with baseball players anymore, your favorite guys, because they would leave and there was no allegiance anymore. And it was almost incomprehensible, but because, as a kid, you don't understand that it's about money and it's a business decision.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the 1977 New York Yankees won the World Series, and they had a pitcher, and I want to say Mike Perez, but I know that's not right. I'm in the ballpark. But he signed as a free agent the next year with the Red Sox. It was how could you do that? You can't go to the Red Sox. And of course, they had that famous one-game playoff where Bucky Dent hit the home run to win the World Series, win the pennant, and the Yankees went to the World Series and all that.
Yeah.
But that was like, this is wow. This really is nothing but a business. And the Supreme Court declared that baseball was a business, and college sports is a business.
That was a very
big business. No, they're very deep and heavy for someone who's about to talk about beer.
That was actually just really tangential. I don't even remember what the question was that I asked. It actually felt like the answer that Billy Madison gave on stage in the academic decathlon, where the principal says, "I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul." We're all dumber for having heard it. It's actually part of what he said as well. Hey, by the way, chock-a-block, is that where people say chock full? Is chock short for chock-a-block?
No, it's just a different word, meaning mostly the same thing. Overflowing, full, overflowing.
I think chock has to be short for chock-a-block. Why would you have two separate words? It's just the prefix that people made into its own word. And this is amazing. Like as much as I love to read and to write and entomology and things like that, I never knew the word chock-a-block. I'm really excited. I got my what I learned today. I'm really excited about this.
Well, I'm excited now. In addition to a beer, do I have to start coming up with a word of the week?
No, that's okay. That's okay. But do tell us what's coming up on Sports Monday this week.
It's Sports 225, and I'm still trying to decide what to do this week. I'm thinking of a few things. That's all.
Well,
don't want to plan ahead. Don't plan too far ahead. You know how that goes.
Right, because planning and things like that, and considering what your audience may care to see, who cares what that may actually entail? I just wing it.
Well,
right?
Look, you have me on.
Well, I have you on every week for one purpose indeed, and that one purpose is to talk about beer and other stuff.
What is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use a beer. Beer.
All right, take it away.
Well, the Billy Madison reference was fantastic, Matt. Please go to sports225.com to see all the gory details about the show and other stuff. I had the good fortune to try a new Belgian brewing company, Wild Ride 30th Anniversary Amber IPA. And it's available all around. It's here locally, and it's a limited release, hop-forward tribute to the beloved Fat Tire. And the way they describe it, they brewed a special hop-forward tribute, dry hop with Mosaic, Galaxy, Idaho 7, and Sabro. Wild Ride has a decidedly American-style aroma that rolls right over malty, sweet, and fruity amber characteristics. It's a perfect reflection of the last 30 years, totally recognizable, a little unexpected, and easy to love. What a wild ride it's been. It's a amber IPA, and it's super tasty, and cold just tastes delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, New Belgium has told me, because I've reviewed a few of their beers here, I have an open invitation to go there, be their guest, and probably drink till I'm stupid. But since it's in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I won't be going there in a while. But when I do go, I'll have to let them know, hey, I plugged this one too. And it's really good. Seriously, it's available everywhere in cans, and you'll thank me. You beer drinkers will absolutely thank me. New Belgium Wild Ride 30th Anniversary Amber IPA.
So also in Fort Collins is the Old Elk Distillery. Maybe you and I, we make a trip to Colorado. We go to New Belgium one day. We go to Old Elk the next.
Now you're talking.
We'll plan it.
And there's so many good beers out in Colorado.
I'll have your people call my people.
You got it, Matt.
All right, Lee, thanks. We'll see you
next week. Bye.
That is Lee Feinswog. This is AFR.
AFR.
Remember our friends over at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. They are leading the way in vaccinating our city against COVID-19. And right now, you can reserve your COVID-19 vaccine today. Go to brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org, right there on the homepage. If you want to learn more about the vaccine, a lot of people have questions about the different vaccines and which ones are available and maybe different questions you might have. You can get all those answers at brgeneral.org. 29,000, as of right now, 29,704 vaccines have been given at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. You can schedule your vaccine. You can get all the COVID-19 vaccine info that you may need. And as of March 29th, every person 16 and older is eligible to receive the COVID vaccine in Louisiana. So you can schedule yours online right now at brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
It's time to get serious about your lawn. It's time to step up to the best mower brand money can buy. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best when it comes to mowing your lawn. There's sure to be a Skag model that's perfect for your yard, big or small. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood.
Contact All Outdoor Power Equipment in Bruley.
Skag, simply the best.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love, where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Pels win 117-110. By the hardest, though. Man, they had a massive lead, led by 26 in the second quarter. It all evaporated. It got within 4 points in the final minutes there, but they were able to hang on and beat Sacramento 117-110. Pels win at the Blender. Stan Van Gundy was salty as everyone kept talking about blowing that lead.
I wore out Zion and Brandon because we didn't have that other guy to put in the game, a playmaking forward to put in the game, and so it was tough. I mean, it was just really tough second half. Look, we didn't do a good job. We didn't take care of the ball. I didn't do a good job in terms of helping us offensively, but we got a win out of it, and so everybody gets all excited about the comebacks, and I get that. They did a great job, but you know what? We get a win and they get a loss. So be as excited as you want about them and as positive as you want about them. People, it's just a weird thing in basketball. Football, same thing in sports. You talk about the comeback instead of, hell, we're up 23 at the half. Like, what happened there? But nobody's questioning them. They showed great heart in the comeback. I'll take the 23-point lead and the 7-point win.
But Stan getting a little uppity. He's right, though. But the problem, obviously, is that this has bitten you in the T-Hiney before, where you've had the big lead, but you lost the ball game. And the inability to finish games and put teams away is what kind of has people a little, on edge. De'Aaron Fox had 43 last night. He was awesome. If you watch the game, every time the Pels play, I try to watch just because I want to watch Zion. He's amazing. I say it every time. It's got to the point where I'm really struggling to come up with new superlatives to talk about. There was a play in the game last night where the Pels get a defensive rebound. They outlet to Zion, who brings the ball up. Point Zion. He goes from defensive rebound, bringing the ball up as the point guard, passing, setting up back to the basket, starts backing down the defender, and then spins fake left baseline, goes up and under two players, and finishes in an impossible level of difficulty. And it's just like, what are you? What type of thing is Zion? It's just every time you watch it, you realize there is just nothing that can stop him in this league, because there just isn't a thing, there isn't a human, a being that can do all of those things at the elite level that he does. And he even pulled up for about a 15-foot jumper yesterday on the baseline in the final minutes with the shot clock winding down. And you go, man, if he's got that, and Joel Myers on the TV broadcast said he's got it, meaning like he's got that in his repertoire. You don't see it all the time, but it's there if he needs it. And boy, he went into that bag and he starts hitting that. Man, it's so fun to watch. So anyway, the Kings have been slumping, and at one point not too long ago, the Kings were actually ahead of the Pels in the standings. This on March 30th, the Kings had won 5 in a row, and they led the Pelicans and were 1 game behind Golden State for 10th place. Now, the Kings are just absolutely in a nosedive, and Pels got the win, as Stan Van Gundy said. So the Pels host the Knicks on Wednesday as part of this homestand. And when you look at the standings, the Pelicans look okay. Remember, they're only playing 72 this year. So they're going to play a shortened schedule. And with 18 games to go, they're presently, let me pull up the standings. I want to get it up to date. Forgive me. With 18 games to play, they're currently at 25 and 29, so they're a game behind Golden State in the loss column, which won last night and upset Denver. By the way, if you were listening to Scone Cold Lead Pipe Locks, I gave you the Warriors plus the 4.5, and they won outright. You're welcome very much. Cash and tickets. But the Pels are in a good spot to make a run with 18 games to go. Now, this also dovetails into another conversation I want to have. Mark Cuban, of course, owner of the Mavs, says that the NBA's playoff format is a, quote, enormous mistake. He made these comments via text to ESPN, which they then published. It is worth noting that the NBA Board of Governors, of which Mark Cuban is a member, unanimously approved the proposal for the play-in tournament this season, which means, if you're not familiar, normally the top 8 seeds in the NBA make the playoffs, as they did in the bubble this year. 7, 8, 9, 10 will have a play-in tournament. 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. The lower seed has to win back-to-back games. If they lose once, they're out, and the higher seed moves on. And Mark Cuban sort of echoed comments that his superstar, Luka Doncic, made. Luka said, the worst part of this approach is it doubles the stress of the compressed schedule. Rather than playing for a playoff spot and being able to rest players as the standings become clearer, teams have to approach every game as a playoff game to get either interstate. No, I'm sorry, that was what Cuban said. Luka, gosh, dog it, I was looking for the quote from Luka. Here it is. Luka said, quote, I don't understand the idea of a play-in. You play 72 games to get into the playoffs, then maybe you lose 2 in a row and you're out of the playoffs. I don't see the point. Now, Cuban's point is basically not so much the structure itself, but in this year where you're playing a compressed game because they were trying to get 72 games in and teams are playing more back-to-back and they're having less rest. And he's saying you're asking more minutes in a shorter amount of time from players, and they're going to be gassed, and now you're having them do this play-in game. Cry me a freaking river. Look, I like Mark Cuban. I liked Mark Cuban a lot before he was Shark Tank, Dancing with the Stars, Mark Cuban. I just thought there was an everyman quality to Cuban. There is an everyman quality to Cuban where he's the guy who's the owner, the billionaire tech guy who buys the basketball team, and he's sitting courtside in a T-shirt cheering like a fan. I think that's very endearing because most, I think, sports fans can relate to that guy. Like, man, what if I hit the jackpot and could buy my favorite team? I'd want to sit right behind the bench in a T-shirt, drinking beer, and cheering, right? I think that's relatable. So I've always liked Mark Cuban as an owner. But this is, I think, Cuban backing up his player who's looking at the standings going, right now, Dallas is in 7th. So Dallas is very likely going to have to play in that play-in game. Now, some of you may hear me say that and go, Matt, that's super hypocritical because aren't you the guy that hates the wild card game in baseball? Yes, I do hate the wild card game in baseball. There are a few very key differences, though. Part of the reason I hate it is what Luka alluded to there. You play 162 games. The 162-game sample is far greater than the one-game sample. In baseball, on any given day, in the game of baseball, weird things happen. Maybe your pitcher has diarrhea and he only goes an inning and he's gone. Kumar Rocker, dominant pitcher, he gets shelled by Georgia the other night. Weird. It's baseball. That's why you have to play a 7-game series to determine the better team. Absolutely. We've also seen in baseball wild card teams win the World Series. So I'm okay with the wild card format. I hate the wild card game. Okay? I should say the divisional series with wild card teams, or the team that gets in. I hate the wild card game itself. Specifically, though, with the NBA, the 7 and the 8 seed aren't advancing. If you're a 7 or an 8 seed, you're not winning a championship. The wild card in Major League Baseball has a chance to win the World Series. Since the 1983-84 season, when they went to this current format, number 1 seeds have won 67 of the 72 first-round series against the number 8. Only 5 times has an 8 seed advanced, and in 2 of those, the 94 Denver Nuggets and the 99 New York Knicks, that's when it was a best-of-5 series. Since they've gone to the best-of-7 series, it's only happened 3 times. Golden State beat Dallas in 2007, Memphis beat the Spurs in 2011, and then in 2012, Philly beat Chicago, and if you remember, that's when Derrick Rose tore his ACL in Game 1, and the Bulls were just decimated from that point. So you're never winning a championship as the 7 or 8 seed. You're a sacrificial lamb for all intents and purposes. And you have the advantage because someone has to beat you twice. And if that allows more fan bases to stay engaged longer, That's a win for the NBA. And please cry me a freaking river that you got to go play more basketball games. But you know how many dudes go run hoop at the rec center? When I was in 7th grade at Callaway's, we were running basketball games for 12 hours a day. There was some old dude with a knee brace on who all he did was snowbird and jack threes. It's what you do. Tell me you don't know that guy. You know your equivalent of that guy. I get it. Cuban's going to bat for his guy, but he sees it as his team is probably going to be the 7 seed, and they're probably going to have to play in that series against the 10, who might well be the Pelicans. And you really want to see Zion and B.I. and Lonzo and have to beat them twice to keep your season going? I get it. Ain't none of them teams won a title this year anyway. So suck it up and go play, bro. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us. We'll knock out a quick break. Wrap up hour number 2. Brain will have Tigers in the pros. I'm excited about this. Speaking of the NBA, 30 minutes from right now, Kristen Peake is going to join us, NBA draft analyst for Yahoo Sports. She'll jump aboard, talk about her latest mock draft and what she thinks about the LSU guys and who she's targeting for the Pels in the first round of this year's NBA draft. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Every Tuesday, brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Online at lainsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. lainsurance.net. I love telling you about great testimonials of AFR listeners that call Insurance Network of Louisiana and they're able to save. This is one that Adam sent me today. Jason and his wife, Courtney, AFR listener, Jason and his wife, Courtney, they'd been with Liberty Mutual for in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 years. Had their home, auto, and an umbrella policy on a rent house. So coverage was good. Didn't need to make any changes there. But they got all of that coverage. They wrote everything. In the end, saved them more than $3,500 annually. For the same coverage, save $3,500. You don't think you'd be pumped if just for making one phone call, you save more than $3,000? 293-0450. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new RAV4 for $329 per month. That's $329 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cornell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call.
This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remember, if you are driving home from a job that maybe you just don't love, you want something better in life, Relief Windows could be the option. My guy Brandon Holly, his wife Adrian, they run an awesome business, and they are hiring, looking for motivated people with a great attitude that want more. Relief Windows. They offer competitive salary, health insurance, 401k, and a bonus structure where you can control what you make. If you want more, inquire at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. Brain has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
Ben Simmons only had 8 points last night.
Oh!
He was 3 for 6 from the floor. 2 for 6 from the free throw line.
Oh, yeah.
6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, and once again, 0 for 0 from behind three-point line.
Yeah.
Bummer. Yeah. He does what he does. Over to Naz Reid, who's actually playing right now.
Oh, yeah, day game, no fans. That's right.
Naz Reid, who I believe got a start today because he should have stayed in school. He only has 2 points so far. They're in the fourth quarter, 11 minutes remaining in the game. 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 blocks as well for Naz Reid.
Would have been 3 blocks if he stayed.
It probably would have, no doubt. Over in Major League Baseball, slow night last night for the Tigers. Nobody really out there. LeMahieu had a rough night of it. Today, though, Andrew Stevenson went 1 for 1, and that one was a home run.
It was a pinch hit homer.
Pinch hit home run. That's 2 days in a row he's pinch hitting.
I think it was last night when he hit the pinch hit homer.
Was that last night?
Yeah.
I'm not hitting backwards on my screen. But yes, 1 for 1, and it was a home run.
It was a pinch hit homer.
It was, well, it's the same thing either way. Whether it was a home run or a pinch hit home run, it scores the same.
Well, the game matters because they haven't played yet today. They played 6:45 tonight against the Cardinals. The home run was a pinch hit home run last night in the 7th.
Yes, that was last night.
Yeah, it was. Right.
Yeah. I try to run through all of them. I lose track of my days.
Days are hard. In your defense, days are hard to keep up with.
With baseball, there's
My
like an overlap.
7-year-old with special needs has a really hard time with days.
With baseball and this segment, I could either call it a day at the end of yesterday and catch hell from you for that, or I can leap over to today and just have a screen up in front of me. Hey, remember the other day we learned Jarrell Martin's playing ball in Australia right now?
I do remember that.
What?
But the game they don't play until tonight.
Okay. Fantastic. You know who else plays tonight?
Jarrell Martin.
No. Jarrell Martin. He actually played on Sunday.
Okay.
But I didn't get to score until late. So I didn't have it for yesterday. Jarrell Martin posted up 23 points for the Sydney Kings.
Hey, is Australia ahead of us or behind us in time zones? I legitimately don't know. I know it's 23 hours away, but is it Wednesday morning in Australia?
I think they're...
Or is it last night in Australia?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Hey, Siri, what time is it in Australia? Siri, you suck.
That would be the one time Siri doesn't answer.
Right? Hey, Siri, what time is it in Australia? 7:55 a.m., so they're ahead of us.
Are they? Or is it 7:55 today?
No, it's 7:55 a.m. like they're ahead of us. It's tomorrow.
Okay.
They're like 23 hours ahead.
Ahead.
They're ahead or behind. So they're
That's Tigers and the Pros.
Presented by
KYSBestHemp.com. KYSBestHemp.com.
We are like really out of time.
Yeah.
Really lost track of that. Promo code AFR30 to save 30% off your order. AFR30 to save 30% off Kentucky's Best Hemp. All right, hour 3 coming straight at you. Sportscenter, get you caught up on national headlines. Some LSU football talk coming up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you, ShawbillsTire.com. Maybe that is the Port Allen location. If you're in West Baton Rouge, been mentioning this to you. If you're in West Baton Rouge and you have experience as a mechanic, they want to talk to you if you're experienced, because maybe you're living in Port Allen or Bruley or Addis, anywhere in West Baton Rouge, but you're coming over the bridge every day, and bridge traffic is awful. We know that. To work in Baton Rouge, no need. They want you there at Shawbills in Port Allen. You can apply in person or online at ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. Remember, family vacations for the summer are just about here. Before you head out on the road, make sure you bring your car to Shawbills. Car, truck, or van, get that thing serviced. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At front to back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to front to back boat service.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Callahan Injury Lawyers
is Sportscenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after their game was postponed because of the fatal police shooting of Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man in a Minneapolis suburb, the Nets and Timberwolves are playing a rare weekday matinee. Brooklyn appears to be well on the way to a rout, leading Minnesota 116-76. About 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Kevin Durant's got 31 points. With the NBA playoffs about a month away, Nuggets have taken a huge injury hit. Star guard Jamal Murray, torn ACL, out indefinitely. The injury devastating to Murray and to Denver's title hopes, explains ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
You can't replace is a guy who, in a 50-50 situation, fourth quarter, game 5, 2-2, who can carry you home. And I know that Nikola Jokic has that ability, but we saw in the playoffs last year that Murray was a special player, a difference-making player. You can't replace that in the playoffs.
The NFL expects key members of each team's football operations staff to receive a COVID-19 vaccine unless they have a bona fide medical or religious reason not to, according to a memo issued to all clubs. Repercussions for non-vaccinated employees include not working directly with players.
We're back on Wednesday and more fallout from Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock draft. We'll tell you why Justin Fields may be following in the footsteps of a recent NFL MVP. Wednesday morning on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. 15 minutes from right now, we'll chat with Kristen Peake. Hey, by the way, would you please text Kristen Peake a reminder? Thank you. I should have done that at the top of the hour. Kristen Peake, Yahoo Sports, NBA draft reporter, her latest mock draft, and what she thinks the Pels do in round 1 and her projections for the LSU guys in the draft. That's all coming up here in about 13 minutes from right now. LSU spring game on Saturday. If you were here in hour 1, I went through some of what Ed Orgeron had to say during his weekly interview with Hester and T-Bob this morning, mostly about quarterbacks and red zone play and that sort of stuff. There's a couple other things he talked about that I wanted to touch on. And by the way, LSU on the practice field today and then again on Thursday. And Coach O is meeting with the media at 6 o'clock tonight. So in about an hour from right now, I'll have his last media availability before the spring game. He did talk about the line play, both offensive and defensive line play. Let's start with the backup offensive linemen. We know who the first 5 are because the same first 5 from a year ago. What about the guys who are running with the second team, the backups right now?
Anthony Bradford's making improvement now. One-on-one, he's probably our best blocker. If you look at him one-on-one and big cat drill and drive blocking and reach blocking and bump combo drill, he's probably our best blocker. To see him to go out there and the better performer. See Charles Turner, Liam Shanahan, Charles Turner one snap away. And all these guys, they're one snap away. Barker Somerville, one snap away from going in there and playing. I think those 3 guys would be the top 3 guys right now I've seen was ready to play. I'm telling you now, Garrett Dellinger, mid-year graduate from Michigan, is going to be a great player for us, and I can see him get some playing time as a freshman.
So a few things. He continues to say that Bradford is their best blocker, and that's a bit perplexing. And Ed said the same thing last year, by the way. He said he's their most talented offensive lineman, but he couldn't get on the field a year ago. So it's kind of perplexing when you have this guy that clearly is doing well in practice and winning one-on-ones, but hasn't been able to emerge and get on the field for meaningful snaps. Let's see there. He also mentioned Charles Turner. I'm interested because Turner, the only question really, I mean, this kid from IMG who was a highly rated center, but when he showed up on campus, he was 6'3", 266. You cannot play interior offensive line in the SEC at 266. So for him, it's really been, can he physically get his body ready for a 12-game grind in the SEC? And then Dummerville, who we mentioned there, is the other one. So it makes a lot of sense. Bradford's your interior guy at guard. Turner's your backup at center. And Dummerville's your backup at the tackle spot. So those guys would be the next one in. On the defensive line, they got a lot of numbers there. This is what Ed Orgeron said about the defensive line and what he's looking forward to.
Basically going to be fired up being a Tiger Stadium. Yeah. And he's had an outstanding spring. There's a lot of things he needs to work on. You know, he's a big young man. He's 6'5", 3/4. And he plays defensive tackle, so he's got to work on his pad level. But his pass rush was phenomenal. You know, I want Joe Evans to show out. Joe Evans had a dominating scrimmage again on Saturday. He's probably our best interior lineman. Neil Farrell's playing his best ball right now. See those guys to continue. You know who had a good scrimmage on and I'm really excited. He's a senior, had a good scrimmage on Saturday, was Sonny Fanu. Yeah. Sonny's been a junior college player. He does everything we ask him to do. So I'm excited to see those guys show out a little bit.
Cool to throw a little love to Sonny Fanu, a guy, JUCO guy that's been around, may get his opportunity to get a few meaningful snaps this year. I have like a big problem with Joseph Evans being LSU's best defensive lineman. And it's not to knock Joseph Evans, and he may well be the best defensive lineman right now. But in 2019 as a freshman, he played in 4 games. Last year, he flip-flopped offense to defense. They couldn't decide where they wanted to play him. And now he's your best defensive lineman when everybody's back? I mean, what about Neil Farrell? What about Glenn Logan? What about Jaquelin Roy? What about Jacobian Guillory? What about Mason Smith? The guy who's flip-flopped offensive defense, that's your best lineman? Like, I got to see that. My hope is that it's just one of those things where Evans is a third-year guy now, is ready to explode, and maybe he'll be that. But I don't know if that's more of a compliment to Evans or more of a concern over everybody else. But we'll at least get a glimpse of that this weekend with the spring game with those guys. Ed Orgeron has said it'll be ones-on-ones, and I love that format. I would so much rather see good-on-good instead of artificially inflating your expectations based on your starters doing well against backups. So, yes, I like good-on-good. I don't like splitting up the roster. I like having your best offensive roster against your best defensive roster to see who wins out. So, spring game on Saturday, it obviously doesn't mean much, mostly just stay healthy, but it is an opportunity to see the Tigers in what is a rebuild year after a 5-5 season. And a bounce back year after a 5-5 season. Here's hoping they climb. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk to Seth Walder in hour 1. Seth Walder is with ESPN's analytics and helps put together the FPI. If you're familiar with the FPI, it's the Football Power Index. It's what they've used now for years over at ESPN. It's a statistical rating and projection system for every FBS team in college football. Well, they've updated their FPI now toward the end of spring now, transfer portal time, etc., and with the draft right around the corner. And they put out their rankings, their FPI rankings. This will likely stun you, but the Alabama Crimson Tide is number 1. Followed by Oklahoma at number 2. One of the big takeaways here actually is the Big 12. Because not only is Oklahoma 2, but Iowa State is 4. The top 4 teams according to FPI, Bama, Oklahoma, Clemson, Iowa State. That's your top 4. Followed by Ohio State, Texas A&M at 6, even losing Kellen Mond. Georgia at 7, Mississippi State at 8. Oklahoma State 9, and Penn State rounds out your top 10. So a couple of things that surprised a lot of people. Obviously, Iowa State there. 9% chance to win the national championship with the 4th best roster in college football. Mississippi State, they say, had the 18th best defense in the country last year. While the offense was not good, FPI, it's just computers. It isn't anybody's opinion. It's just a metric. But they think the offense is going to improve with either Will Rogers or Jack Abraham, who was a 3-year starter at Southern Miss, under center. And so they've got Mississippi State at 8th. Now, the interesting thing about State, though, is while they have them the 8th best team, they're only 4th best in the SEC and 3rd in the West. So as a result, FPI is only projecting Mississippi State to win 8 games. Thus is life in the SEC. The Pac-12, they only give a 6% chance to reach the playoff, and 5% of that is rest with Oregon. The Pac-12 should have an abysmal year, according to FPI. But they say this is the Big 12's year. If you're wondering about LSU, FPI has LSU 18th. After that top 10, which we mentioned, Notre Dame 11, Texas 12 with new coach Steve Sarkisian. Mac Brown's North Carolina squad 13, Florida at 14, followed by Wisconsin, Auburn, Oregon, and then LSU at 18. And by the way, as far as championship odds, they do give like FPI lists its odds to win the national championship, and LSU has no championship odds. The computers don't give LSU a chance to win the national championship this year. There are, I believe, maybe 15 or 18 schools listed, and LSU, the computers do not give championship odds. For me, this is 2018. This is LSU 2018. This is a team that we all think is going to improve after a really disappointing season. Of course, 2017, first year under Coach O, is when they lost to Troy, got blown up by Mississippi State. Disappointing end of the season, the bowl game, the whole song and dance. In 2018 is when they got Joe Burrow, and that's when you hoped they started the ascent, and they did. And Cole Tracy had the walk-off kick against Auburn, and they had the big win late in the season against Georgia, which I think at the time was number 3 in the country. And you saw improvement, which set up the championship run in 2019. I think that's what this season is for LSU. It's improvement after a disappointing season. You got a really tough schedule. If this LSU team ends up 9-3 and in the New Year 6, like that 2018 team did, I think that's an amazing springboard to 2022, potentially, where that great freshman class that we just saw are all in their junior year, and that's the team that makes the run. The thing that we're going to talk about quite a bit, I'm sure, is returning production. One of the biggest factors of the FPI ranking is returning production. And you might say, well, but LSU returned 20 of 22 starters. They did. As a matter of fact, 82% of their offensive production is back, and 76% of their defensive production is back. But LSU's still just 30th in the country in returning production. Because LSU got a lot of people back, but so did everybody this year because of COVID in the free year. So while it is kind of an outlier year where LSU got a bunch of guys to return, so did everybody else. So we'll talk to Seth Walder tomorrow from ESPN Analytics to delve into these numbers a little bit deeper. But to me, it's pretty clear what they're looking at LSU. They're saying this isn't going to be a championship team, but it's a team that is going to be better than they were a year ago, not quite to championship level status, but building and bouncing back from a down year and building toward what we all hope could be a championship run next year. All right, after further review, glad to have you hanging out with us here. Of course, NFL draft season is upon us, but it's not too early to start talking NBA draft. A lot of mock drafts are out as players are declaring. Kristen Peake of Yahoo Sports is going to join us next. She's got her latest mock draft out. What does she see for Cam Thomas and the other 3 Tigers that have already declared? And what about the Pels in round 1? We'll talk to Kristen Peake when we come back next on AFR.
AFR.
Boy, today's weather is just absolutely awful. Not a great day to get out in the yard, but this weekend should be fantastic. And if you're checking off honeydews, remember, Clegg's Nursery is the spot to be. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. So wherever you are in the greater Baton Rouge area, if you're looking for plants or flowers, trees, shrubs, maybe you want to plant that vegetable garden. Maybe you're looking for seeds. Of course, Clegg's has Johnny Naylor seeds. If you are a green thumb, you know all about Johnny Naylor seeds. And if you're planting that vegetable garden, that's what you need. And they got it at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. If you need soil or mulch by the bag or in bulk, they got it at Clegg's Nursery. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City location on Donmore. You turn off of Florida onto Donmore. It's right there on the corner. You can't miss it. And, of course, the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs, the largest garden center in the state. It's Clegg's Nursery. Locally owned and operated for more than 60 years and partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
It's time to get serious about your lawn. It's time to step up to the best mower brand money can buy. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best when it comes to mowing your lawn. There's sure to be a Skag model that's perfect for your yard, big or small. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood.
Contact All Outdoor Power Equipment in Bruley.
Skag, simply the best.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-34...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Still more than 3 months until the NBA draft, but the news here certainly heating up with 3 Tigers declaring for the draft and still awaiting the inevitable word from Cameron Thomas. Figured it was a good time to bring on a draft analyst. Kristen Peake is that for Yahoo Sports, and her latest mock draft is up as well over at Yahoo Sports. You can follow her on Twitter at Kristen Peake. Kristen, thanks for a couple of minutes. How are you?
Great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for the time. At the top of your draft, I'll start here before we get to the LSU guys and the Pels. You note that it's a 4-man race at number 1 with no true consensus at number 1. So how does that break down right now for the guys at the top of this draft, and what may sway teams to whoever ends up being the number 1 pick?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I think me and almost everyone else have Cade Cunningham going number 1, and it's going to be really hard to pick against him. He's a 6'8" point guard, 220 pounds. What he did at Oklahoma State was incredible. He was Big 12 Freshman of the Year and Big 12 Player of the Year. He averaged 20 points and 4.5 assists per game. So when you look at his playmaking ability, it's really hard to choose against him, even if you already have a ton of talent in the backcourt. But what the good thing about Cade is you can plug him in anywhere around the perimeter. And because of his size, he's going to make an impact straight away and going to get solid minutes at the NBA level. But if you're a team and you're looking for that next, franchise center, and you have the number 1 pick, whoever falls for that, then you're going to look at Evan Mobley. He's a 7-foot center who can handle the ball with a 7'5" wingspan. Playing at USC this year, I think he averaged 3 blocks per game and had 97 blocks for the season and was the best shot blocker in America. So it's all just kind of depending on what you want. And it's not like Zion Williamson a couple years ago where it was like, we don't care who has the number one pick. Zion Williamson's number one.
We are enjoying the fruits of that draft's labor here in Louisiana every night. Of course, we'd love to see more success of the team, but watching Zion is absolutely incredible. Kristen, I have to know, why do you hate Cameron Thomas?
I don't hate Cameron Thomas. I really like Cameron. I've known him for a very long time. I covered him in high school when he was at Oak Hill. He got snubbed as a McDonald's All-American after becoming the all-time leading scorer at Oak Hill with 2,200 points. And we're talking about players like Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, Rajon Rondo, Cole Anthony, who's a rookie this year. They've all played there. So to become the all-time leading scorer is nothing but incredible. And I know people have him higher in the mock draft, and it's nothing against Cameron. I really, really like him, but he's a high-volume shooter. The only thing I worry about is he's only averaged 1.4 assists per game, and he's very similar to Aaron Nesmith, who went 14 to the Boston Celtics, who's struggling this year because he's a pure volume shooter, just like Cameron is. So, and he's only averaging, I think, 3.5 points per game. So that's the only reason I think teams will have a little bit of a pause, because they have 1 year removed Aaron Nesmith to kind of compare Cameron to.
So
in this draft.
And I only tease because there's a guy who comes on the show every week, and my projection is that there's no way Cam Thomas gets outside of the teens, and you have him at 21 to the Knicks. So you're breaking my heart by 2 slots. But again, so much of it depends on draft order. What are front office executives saying when they evaluate? You went to it a little bit there. What do they see and what are they saying when they evaluate Cameron Thomas?
I mean, all they know is like, this player is not afraid to shoot. He's very confident. When he gets hot, he's hot. We saw that again with LaMelo Ball. I went over to Australia and I saw him play last year. I went to 2 games there. And it was kind of a similar thing where he's not afraid to shoot from anywhere. And people are like, oh, but he only shot 27% from 3. Cameron only shot 32% from 3. And he shot he attempted 200 3-pointers in 29 games this year. So it's almost
I watched them all.
Yes. And so NBA teams, that's the positive. They know exactly what they're getting in him, but they probably wanted to see a little bit more playmaking for other players and a little more dishing, because when you're that small at 6'4", I can't believe I'm saying that, like 6'4" is small in the NBA, right? But you have to be able to create for others on the court as well as a combo guard.
Kristen Peake is with us, Yahoo Sports NBA draft analyst and basketball analyst, but she's got her NBA mock draft up right now, which we'll want to talk about. Kristen, let me ask about the other LSU guys. Where do you see Trendon Watford falling in this draft? First of all, is he a draftable player, and if so, where?
He is. He definitely is. And Trendon's another player I've known, since his high school days. He actually was McDonald's All-American. He was a 5-star prospect. And he struggled his freshman year, and I'm really glad. I was happy to see him not chase the bag, so to speak. That's what everyone says, and come back and try to improve. And we saw it in the SEC championship game against a tough defensive Alabama team where he had 30 points. It was probably his best game of the season. And a lot of NBA executives and scouts were at that game. So that was great to kind of peak at that moment, I guess. And then, he did all right. He had a double-double in the first game in the tournament and, 11 points in the loss against Michigan. But his inconsistency isn't going to help him at all. But he's got amazing size at 6'9", and he can, come off the block. He can kind of spread out to the ring. So you're kind of looking at that stretched 4 position. And so I definitely think he could go probably mid to late second round, and definitely someone would, take a chance on him and kind of stuff him away for the future.
Yeah. It's tough I think sometimes for fans to see a guy like Javonte Smart, who's a 3-year player, who's a great leader, played both the 1 and the 2, could score inside and out, and to say, man, how is that guy not a draftable player? How is he not an NBA prospect? When you evaluate Javonte Smart, what do you see?
Javonte, man, you are just you're naming all these players that I've been watching their AAU days and their development days. I've known Javonte since he was a freshman in high school. So I've seen him play and progress a lot. And I think what's helped at his time at LSU is his maturity on and off the court. And, you know, you get told your entire high school life, you're a 5-star, you're the best point guard in the country, you're everything, you're the best thing since sliced bread. And then you get to college and you're playing against guys that are bigger than you, that are faster than you, that are stronger than you. And it kind of humbles you. And it was nice to see Javonte kind of take that leadership role finally 3 years into his college career. And he's another player. I don't think this draft class is so deep and so talented, and probably one of the deepest draft classes in the last 5 years. But he could get picked up on a 2A, or, you know, he could be one of those guys that we see in the G League and then he makes a push, you know, and he's on an NBA team. We're like, oh, where did he come from? And it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, if you watched every LSU game like you did, you probably saw it coming.
Do you think he has an NBA future? Because candidly, Kristen, I think he's more of an international guy. I don't know that he's got the handle to be a point guard in the NBA, and he's kind of got a flat-footed set shot that it's hard to know how that translates. So I don't know. I don't know that Javonte, or there's even a comp in the league right now. Do you see that for him?
No, I mean, and I don't. I do think there's always, I mean, even though he's a junior in college, you have to remember that these players are still so young. You know, what are we talking about? A 21, 22-year-old kid? And so there is still room for that growth. I mean, just look at can we talk about Davion Mitchell and what he did, and how over 1 year, and he's 22, he went from a fringe second rounder to a top 10 pick in 1 year. You know what I mean? So there's always that chance that it can happen. And Javonte definitely has the size to be, you know, an NBA point guard if he wants it, but he's got to want it. And you're right. He's got to get faster. He's got to get quicker. And the overseas route is just as fine. Americans make a lot of money overseas.
They do. There's some nice beaches in Australia too. What about one more? What about Darius Days?
Yeah, Darius. I mean, he's one of those players where I think he could sneak in the second round, just like or not Javonte, just like Trendon Watford. Yeah. And it's hard because there's so much older, and I hate saying, because I'm contradicting myself saying old. I'm quote old for the draft as a junior. And, you know, he's a 6'7" wing, and he's got good size, but he didn't really improve that much from last year to this year, you know? And that's what a lot of NBA teams look at, because they want to know, is this it? Is this your cap? Is this your ceiling? You know, where are you going to be 3-4 years from now? So he's another one that's a huge question mark for the draft this year.
Kristen Peake, Yahoo Sports basketball analyst. Our NBA mock draft is up right now. Hey, before you scoot, let me ask you about, and you used Tankathon to project the order of your mock draft. So you got the Pelicans picking 10th, and boy, they love the Dukies, ain't no doubt about it. And you got them going that way again with Jalen Johnson. Tell me a little bit about why you think, if you would, why you think the Pels and Jalen Johnson would be a good fit.
I mean, what's crazy about Jalen Johnson is, so there's kind of a 50-50 out on him, right? There's either teams that don't want to touch him at all because he looks uncommittal about what he did his senior year in high school when he left IMG Academy early. And then when he left Duke after only appearing in 13 games this year, and left the team with 3 weeks left in the season because Matthew Hurt started taking all his minutes and he wasn't playing very well. I mean, it looks like a huge cop-out. But you cannot deny what his potential is. He's a 6'9" wing forward, great size. You know, at Duke, he only averaged 11.6 rebounds per game, but he's one of those players where if you do pass on him and he ends up being like an all-star or a franchise player, then you're going to be like, what were we thinking? You know, so this is one of those where you just kind of roll the dice, and are you betting on his upside? Are you taking it? And New Orleans has done that. They've taken a player like Jackson Hayes, who are super raw, and they've kind of molded him to who they want him to be with the franchise. And I think with the pressure off Jalen, he would be able to grow, you know, and not so much and like having high expectations for him his rookie year. You know, everyone is looking at Zion, so nobody's looking at a rookie like Jalen Johnson.
Zion and B.I. Look, they traded J.J. Redick. So, while Dookie goes out, another one's got to come in. So, it might as well be Jalen Johnson. Would be a good option.
Exactly. I think that's the rule in franchises. You drop one Duke, you got to get another one. That's totally it. That's what they go by.
It definitely feels like it in these parts. Kristen Peake. I'll follow her on Twitter at Kristen Peake. First reader stuff over at yahoosports.com. Kristen, this was fun. Thanks for a couple minutes. We'll do it again soon, okay?
Thanks, Matt. Have a good one.
Our pleasure. You do the same. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Get on by and test drive or shop online. It's such a great place to start. The average car buyer visits 1.2 dealerships. Just a handful of years ago, that number was over 3 because what would you do? You'd go to the dealership. You'd see what was on the lot. You'd haggle with the guy. They'd make you sit in the room. You go to another dealership. You try to have them all bid against each other. Nobody does it anymore. You go to the website, southpointvw.com. You search all the dealer specials. You can even work out financing. And South Point Volkswagen, they're the largest volume Volkswagen dealer in the state, so they can give you a better deal because they got more inventory. southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, it's After Further Review. I want to circle back. LSU and Grambling baseball was supposed to be played tonight at the box. Postponed because of weather. They're going to try to make that up. But Paul Maneri did meet with the media, and there's a couple of things that the skipper said that I wanted to circle back to as LSU gets set to welcome in South Carolina for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. That's coming up next on AFR.
AFR.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Experience the Zurich Classic in a whole new way. This year, you can purchase a Best of the Zurich Classic Pass, which will get you into all the venues you know and love, where you'll feast on great food and drinks from some of your favorite local restaurants. Come enjoy the outdoors and see the best golfers in the world. But hurry, attendance is limited. This year, all safety protocols will be followed to ensure a safe tournament experience for everyone. The Zurich Classic. For more info and tickets, go to ZurichGolfClassic.com.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new Camry for $299 per month. That's $299 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
And we had awful weather around Baton Rouge area and really all over South Louisiana today. As a matter of fact, saw reports from WBRZ that there was hail in West Baton Rouge, in Baker. We got a call today at HUDCO about roof replacement in Denham. If you got hit with high wind, hail, give us a shout at HUDCO. I'll tell you an honest-to-goodness true story. I won't use names, but today we had a family in Denham Springs call us at HUDCO to replace their roof. They had 2 door knockers show up simultaneously. They got on this family's roof. They started fighting, and then ultimately the family was fed up with that, and the husband said, call the people Moscona talks about, which is HUDCO, and these door knockers got upset and used not such great language. I've told you this before at HUDCO, we're never gonna be door knockers. And the reason is pretty obvious, because all of us involved with HUDCO, we don't like when people come and knock on our doors to ask us if they can get on our roof, and it's not the way we want to do business. So when we at HUDCO say, do business with someone you know, that's why. So if you had some damage or think you might, give us a shout. You can call us, either our Bossier office, which is everything Alexandria North, or anything along the I-10 corridor, call our Baton Rouge office, or go to HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCO, HUDCOroofing.com. There's a contact tab. You hit the contact tab, and you can literally just fill out your name, your address, and then your phone number, and then just some information right there so we can get back in touch with you about the issue that you might have at your house. HUDCOroofing.com. I tell you all the time. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Real quick. I do want to talk LSU baseball. So I got a text message to the show text line. You can always text us. Brains art. I can hear him giggling over there. He's so proud. You're so proud of this. You're so proud of it.
I am.
When I showed you this morning, you snorted.
I did.
You audibly snorted. And I think Gordy was sitting right there on a really
phone.
On a phone call. He was talking to his wife. So so it was okay, is my point. So I got a text to the show text line this morning from Caleb Blunt, who said, hey, Matt, have you noticed the auto drop on your preview of the show is messed up? Says, I'm Matt Moscona. Hey, that's me. Like, that isn't your thing, right? So there is this old adage in radio that you should never have an inside joke, but this is one of those things where I figured most people would get it and laugh. Maybe this is an example of just something that it's like sitting in this room for 3 hours a day, every day, and then having the station on. We hear this a bajillion times, but there's a promo. ESPN National will send promos for all their affiliates to run. There's a promo for a weekend show, Marty and McGee, with Marty Smith and Ryan McGee, that we've heard a bajillion times. We've all heard it. So internally, we all make fun of this because we've heard it so many times. This is the promo.
Hey, y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee. Saturday mornings,
okay,
7,
get it.
Right here on 104.5.
Yeah, you get it. Okay, so anyway, we just laughed at all about how aggressive that is and the hey, that's me. So Brain thought he would just sneak in a little Easter egg whenever we do the AFR promos now. And when I say, this is Matt Moscona, you have an example of an AFR promo that we cut. So every day after the show, we cut a promo that airs until the next day's show that are personalized for Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, etc. This is how it sounds. Hey, it's Matt Moscona.
Hey, that's me.
Inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by. So, Brain decided he was going to sneak that little Easter egg in there and have it run. And did you have any impression until someone noticed, or was it just something we were going to do for our own amusement?
It was really just for our own amusement. I didn't think anybody would notice.
Over the weekend one that ran, you did it because I was teasing Anthony Renato would be on the show. So it was like, hey, it's Matt Moscona. Join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap the LSU baseball series with Anthony Renato.
Hey, that's me.
That's what you did. You and I are probably the only two people listening right now that are laughing. This felt like something I needed to explain, and now I'm like, why did I just waste 2 minutes explaining this? Because I don't think anybody cares.
Totally worth it.
You're right. It was totally worth it. Speaking of Anthony Renato, he played baseball at LSU. LSU was supposed to play baseball tonight against Grambling. That game will not happen because of inclement weather, obviously. Paul Mainieri, though, said he wanted to play the game tonight because he was hoping to get a look at a lot of the different pitchers that maybe didn't throw over the weekend. And Helmers was going to start. Can you play 5, please? He talked about Blake Helmers and some of the guys they wanted to see throw tonight.
First of all, Will Helmers will start tomorrow.
I said Blake, my bad.
We need to, I really hope we can play tomorrow because I really want to take a look at some of the guys that did not make the trip this weekend. Because obviously we didn't get great performances out of our bullpen this past weekend. Yes, but yesterday especially, I should say only yesterday, really. Up until then, the performances were great, especially Fontenot and Vittmeyer and Garrett Edwards all did tremendous for us. But yesterday was not so great. And I want to see Theo Millis. I thought threw really well last week. We've got a couple of kids that are working their way back in, and we need to get them into a game.
So remember, when you travel in the SEC, you don't have your full roster. You have to have a travel roster. So that's what he's talking about, some of the guys that didn't make the trip. But Will Helmers is the guy that, for me, I think is the biggest surprise that he didn't throw. If I were to pick out my 5 best pitchers on the season outside of the starters, you're probably, if you don't start with Helmers, it's not going to take you long to get down the list of Helmers, Edwards, Fontenot, Floyd, in whatever order you want them after your starters. So that you didn't throw him this weekend was surprising to me. Now, Mainieri was also asked if Blake Money has earned another start this weekend in Game 3.
I thought Blake did a really fine job, and certainly he's qualified to start again. I don't know that we'll name him yet to be the starting pitcher in Game 3. Again, I think we need to play one game at a time and decide, what we'll do. But certainly it's a candidate. But again, we don't know what's going to happen in the first 2 games, and we're going to play them one game at a time and give ourselves the best chance to win on a given day.
I would, I said it last week, I'll say it again. My hope is that as this series plays out, look, South Carolina this year in SEC series, they are 1-3 in the opening game. LSU with Landon Marceau on Thursday is your best opportunity to win a game in the series. It's not your only opportunity to win it, but the percentage-wise, your best opportunity to win a game in this series is going to be Thursday night with Marceau on the bump against South Carolina. You have to go all in to win that game and then hope you can split the next 2. Either you get a great performance from A.J. Labus, maybe the bats come alive in Game 3, whatever it may be. That's going to be your recipe to win this series. So if in that game moving along, you need Will Helmers at some point, you throw him. But hopefully you get 7 innings out of Marceau, and then you go Fontenot, Edwards, Fontenot, whatever you need to get through it, or maybe you got a 10-run lead and you don't need to go deep into your bullpen. But if the scenario unfolds in the first 2 games to where you don't have to use Will already, he started both at home and on the road. He's the guy that I would like to see have an opportunity. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and shove, but he's earned that opportunity to start that Game 3, and I would like to see him get that opportunity this week to see if maybe he could emerge as that guy for you. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll do Otter Locks and what we learned to wrap up. By the way, your boy hit again last night. I am 4-0 since coming out of hibernation. So on a little bit of a heater right now. We'll see what the Otters got for you as well. All right, it's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll grab our final break of the show. When we come back, Otter Locks and what we learned to wrap up. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
So today's weather was absolutely awful, and it's projected to be really bad for the rest of the week. So this is actually a great time to call River City's 1 Hour Air. This is a great time to call River City's 1 Hour Air and get on their books, to have them come out for the preseason AC tune-up. The analogy I give you every day, I'll say it again right now. You wouldn't go on a cross-country trip without having your oil change, your tires rotated, making sure your car was in the best possible shape for that journey. Why would you go through summer in Louisiana without having your AC tuned up? Make sure that standard maintenance is done to make sure that your AC will last year after year after year and perform at a higher, more efficient level. It's just $97. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at onehourbr.com.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
$12,500 off MSRP. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2020 Ford Expedition today with $12,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At front to back, they got not one, but two NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up a Tuesday edition of AFR. As always, we appreciate our friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money online at lainsurance.net. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. Otter Locks.
And for that, we turn to the one and only Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us right here in Baton Rouge or online at 1045ESPN.com. Otter, how are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. How about you, bud?
Man, I am doing awesome. The weather sucks, but I don't care because we got sports and we get to live and breathe and do radio for a living, and that's actually a really cool thing to do. So,
had a beautiful view coming through the hills from Natchez today to St. Francisville to do Hanging with Annie, and I mean, it was an electric show. Pretty big old bolts of lightning coming down all the way on a ride there.
Man, that was Friday night, Saturday morning. Holy moly, what a night. Oh.
I slept through that.
Well, our power went out. And so that meant like the sound machine in the room went out, the AC went out, so it was just quiet. And so I think the quiet woke me up. It wasn't loud, but when I woke up, the whole house, it looked like a strobe light. It was incredible. So anyway.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, what are we betting on tonight? Thank you so much. I appreciate you playing a little bit. All right, just give me the damn picks, Jimmy. Give me the picks and get out of here.
Well, we split on our NBA picks last night with the Lakers and the Sixers.
Oh, well, maybe if you'd taken my pick with the Warriors, you would have had an outright winner. Dog winning outright. How about it?
Ooh, Seth Curry was unbelievable last night in that game. I mean, that was yeah, this just in, he can shoot, but it was sick last night. I mean, he was on fire. But we're stubborn. We're going back on the Lakers against the Hornets tonight. So laying a modest 1.5 on the road in Charlotte. And also, you know, one of my teams that rode last year, they're playing better, the Miami Heat, but they're going against the Suns. This is about as buy low of a spot on the Suns, -3.5 against the Heat at home. Suns, second strongest point spread value behind the Jazz. Jazz is number 1 in the league, and Phoenix is number 2. Ironically, the Phoenix has the best point spread record this season, 15 games over 500. The Jazz is second best point spread record, 12 games over 500. But nonetheless, we are going with the Suns in a real low spot right there, -3.5 against the Miami Heat.
All right. Anything in the National Hockey League or Major League Baseball you like tonight?
It's Tuesday. It's not Thursday.
All right, so you only go Colucci on Thursday. Other than that, we get no Colucci picks ever.
I can't name one hockey player.
Me
but
either.
I can name Dwayne Colucci.
I got you. What about Major League Baseball tonight? Anything?
You know, I was looking a little bit at the a couple of unders been going against National League Central unders and also American League Central unders. And you got Giolito of the White Sox against the Indians. And that lineup is not what it used to be at all. And of course Shane Bieber, he's averaging like 13 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, he won a Cy Young last year. He's picked up right where he left off. So under 6.5, though, can we do that? Can we go under first 5? But just something I've looked at, but the line is really low. And another under involving an LSU star, Kevin Gausman against Castillo. And the Giants continue to go under in their games, especially at night in San Francisco. And these two pitchers should be a low-scoring game out on the coast tonight.
All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us. If you're not in Baton Rouge, you can listen online at 1045ESPN.com or on the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page if you want to see Ott's beautiful face from Doe's Eat Place just down the road from us here on Government Street. Get you a big porterhouse for 2, Otter.
And former New Orleans Saint Michael Delicano has been with me for years. Let's talk about some of the over-unders for the NFL draft, including after Pro Day and that 41 vertical and that 40 time, Jamar Chase has separated himself. His over-under is 6.5. Devontae Smith is 11.5.
Oh, wow.
But there's another wide receiver who has 11.5 also.
Terrace Marshall?
Jalen
Waddle, okay. That would make way more sense than Terrace Marshall.
At 11.5. So we're going to talk about others in there as well, and so what they mean, and if you got value, or this is a sign of things to come in a few weeks.
Ask Mike, if you would, on air, because I'll be listening, which receiver he thinks has a better career, Waddle or Terrace Marshall?
Okay.
All right.
I know he thinks that Waddle has a chance to be like a Tyreek Hill, but we're going to do that. We're going to do that for you. And you know what he's going to tell me?
We'll have to see.
He's not free.
Oh, wait. Are we doing we got to do a companion show again. People are begging for it. We got to get Hanny in a island shirt again with the hat, absolutely blitzed, yelling about Josh Rosen or this year's iteration of Josh Rosen. That's got to happen.
I am feeding him well tomorrow at Bruges for hanging with Annie, so I'm going to get the beard started tomorrow. We're going to get things in place because he has to have that beard again. I mean, that
I totally forgot he hadn't shaved because it was quarantine. All right, Otter, we got to go. We'll see you, man.
See you, man.
That's
Bye.
Jimmy on Game Time. When Jimmy on follows us, we're getting out of here. Brain, what did you learn?
Cardell Thomas could get some carries.
No, he's just going to block, but yeah. Paulie, what did you learn? I would be so sweet, though.
Jerome Martin's playing basketball in Sydney.
Oh, that's right. He was gone last week.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
Matt, what'd you learn?
There's a word called chock-a-block. Did you know that?
I did.
Did you really? Paul,
Yeah.
did you know that was a word, chock-a-block?
No idea.
I didn't know. And I consider myself sort of a wordsmith, but Feinswog told me chock-a-block's a word. Oh, boy. We learned something from Lee. See you tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEye.com. WilliamsonEye.com. Give yourself the gift of sight. Call Dr. Blake Williamson. Just go for this consultation. If this is the push you need, let it be that. I'll tell you for years. For years and years and years, I heard people say, man, LASIK's the best money I ever spent. Best decision I ever made. And year after year after year, I kept shoving contact lens into my eyes. I kept having to go buy solution. You'd tear the lens. You'd get something on the lens. You'd be fearful of traveling. What if you swam and then the lens popped out? Or you put on your glasses, or you forgot your glasses when you were traveling, so you were blind at night, or you slept in your contacts and they like glued themselves to your eye. You get it. It sucks. I lived that life for so long. Not anymore. LASIK is the best decision that I made. And it can be the same for you. Go for that consultation. Let this be the push. WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com.
At Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA, $2,000 can get you into a new RAV4 for $329 per month. That's $329 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.